There was an interesting comment on my last video that sort of dealt with the subject of exposure to difficult events, as well as this broader idea of sort of numbing yourself to events over time, certain types of events, and that provides an ample explanation for how a lot of people are able to make it through the world and live out their lives. It's one that I have had apply to me in certain respects, or rather certain contexts, but not in others. Which I mean to say, it appears that, you know, when dealing with people, when trying to become more a person of society, someone integrated and participating in all the things that we're led to believe we're supposed to participate in, I have found that with each attempt that I make at entering in that world, no matter how long I seem to put myself in it, I wind up being more sensitive to that entire set of situations, and in general, in fact, I wind up becoming more sensitive in general. But this video isn't so much about that, but rather the areas in which I actually was able to become, where actually was able to become less sensitive over time. But to finish this quick, I almost said resume. I was thinking resumen. I like resumir, but this, what was it called? Literally, what is the word in English? I'm trying to remember. Summary. There we go. I'm trying to finish this quick summary here. It would appear that in social situations, I have this issue. I'm still thinking about Spanish now. It's messing with my brain. But I seem to have this issue where the memories that I've developed of these casual situations, of these people, end up playing over and over in my head. Things that, I think for most people they just roll off, or they're not all that big of a deal. And it makes life very difficult for me because I find myself fixating on all this stuff no matter what I try to do to remove it from my mind or to think of it a different way. Yet there are other areas where over time, for whatever reason, be it a change of mindset or simply going through the same experiences over and over, where I have been able to feel a different way about it. Today was a day where something happened that I think I would have reacted to much more strongly in the past. If you go throughout my channel, you'll quickly find, well, I don't know about quickly now, I have hundreds of videos since then, but in the various eras of my channel, you will find a video or two talking about the loss of a friendship, for example, right as it happened. And in each of those videos, I seem to be very perturbed, very unwell emotionally, and I tend to use very strong emotional language. I don't know if this is just a product of me getting older and my brain developing, or the fact that this has happened so many times at this point, perhaps a combination of both. But in a situation recently where I lost a very close friend of mine, one with whom I had been spending a lot of time over the past couple days, she disappeared today, and I'm just kind of like that, with my shoulders shrugged. It's not as though I don't wish to have continued our friendship, but more so that I feel as though I have been exposed to situations such as this time and time again, that I have managed to somehow convert myself from somebody who would obsess over this kind of event and would be very struck by it as soon as it would happen, would do everything that I could to try and prevent such a rupture, to now being somebody that just, I don't know, I just look at it and I'm like, sometimes that happens. Sometimes that happens, and I've got my things to focus on, she's got her things to focus on, that's it, It's very interesting to me to have that sensation of like almost nothing, like something happened and then you go back to whatever you were doing. It's very strange. But it's a feeling that I've found myself developing over time as these kinds of events occur time and time again throughout my life. I make it sound like it's frequent. The way I'm describing it, my tendency to utilize flowery language is making it sound like like this happens to me more often than it does. It probably just has felt like, actually, I was about to say it's probably just felt like it's a lot, but now that I think about it, it's never felt like it's a lot. I've had mostly the same friends throughout the last 10 years. So that's inaccurate. That would be misinformation, and I can't do that on my channel. But yeah, it's a bizarre situation to be in, but I do find myself wanting to interact with people, perhaps to distract from loss, or perhaps to change my perspective on the world. Because when a close friend of yours is gone, after having been there for such time, I think this desire arises to want to change something about your life, right? Be it to get new experiences, or to go somewhere new, or to interact with people more. But at the same time, I don't feel that desire that strongly. This is the other thing. Whenever stuff like this happens, I feel as though my first instinct for years now has always been to just go to the people that I know, try to meet new people, and spend as much time essentially not thinking about the event as possible. But here I've been just sitting on my bed, and it occurred to me that this doesn't really matter to me. It's not so much that it has no importance. It's just that emotionally those cogs aren't spinning the way that they used to in the past in similar situations. And that's very strange. It's just an extremely strange thing to experience, because I feel as though historically I've been someone who gets very, very attached and tends to have all these emotions related to the people that I'm attached to, even just on the internet. But I guess there's just this thing that isn't even being said in my head, because it just feels intuitive, like, okay, if this is the way you want to go, you ought to go that way. If this is the way I want to go, I ought to go that way. It's not the same sense of connection and betrayal and all these different things that I may have felt at a different point. And that is quite an interesting feeling for me. I don't know how to describe it other than by saying strange and interesting and odd or whatever, but it is because it feels like genuine character development. And it also feels like character development that has been in the making. Character development that is the product of basically a series of steps I've been taking to become more emotionally stable and essentially to grow up. Because you don't typically think of adults as the people who are really upset and broken over the loss of any individual person, unless like they literally died, you know? That's different. But these are people that may feel upset about a given event, but they're able to hold themselves together and just continue forward, put one foot in front of the other. And I don't know, it's very strange because I've done these different videos directly responding to whatever feelings I may have in relation to things like this, right? As they happen, again. And it's very clear, you know, how I was reacting. I can watch through these videos and then think, okay, at this time, I was really going through it. I remember, you know, thinking about this constantly, just feeling so unwell. And I don't operate like that anymore, man. It's so strange. I really feel as though it's a combination of better emotional management as well as brain development and being burnt so many times that it's just not as surprising as it used to be. It's not something that feels really like this huge betrayal or really bizarre. If anything, the fact, as I've been trying to say with this video, the fact that I don't feel all that much about it feels very bizarre. So I find myself in this strange situation. But all of this is to say that I do think that commenter had a point about the way in which we adapt over time. Some are better at adapting than others to certain types of situations, phenomena, sensations, and others are worse at it. Ultimately, it will depend on the individual how well they're able to adapt emotionally to what situation or stimulation, however you want to slice it. But I do wish for some type of friendship that can be enjoyed in person. I don't know if such a thing is achievable for me in the near term, given that I haven't been able to make friends I get along with in my town, you know? Then I go online and I run into not all that many people, despite seemingly everybody being on here. I'm not in the places where people are. I'm in my own place. And that's fine if you've got a couple close friends the way that I do, but if you want to expand your horizons and develop new friendships, it is difficult. But I keep going, and at the end of the day, I'm in a better place now than I was in the past, which is something that I'm happy about.